This is a Lucian one trick. And this is me. So for the next 10 hours, I'm gonna try to learn Lucian in 3 steps. First, normal games, second, do some research, and third, play some ranked games. All while getting challenger coaching and tracking my ranked journey on my new eCore LOL account. I'm learning every champion, so one day, I can make the greatest Viego video ever. So what runes and build should you go on Lucian? Well, your main rune is press the attack because Lucian's passive gives you an extra auto attack, so it's really easy to activate for short trades. Your build is a caster AD carry. Essence Reaver first for burst and mana regen, Navori Flicker Blades for shorter cooldowns, Infinity Edge and Last Whisper for more damage, and then Bloodthirster to give you some survivability. And now for Lucian's oversimplified ability breakdown. Your Q is a little laser that goes past its target, your W is a skill shot that gives you movement speed, your E is a dash with resets, your passive gives you extra auto attacks and enhances your auto attacks when you're healed or the enemy is CC'd, and your ult is a rapid fire of shots. Anyway, onto some normal games. You know, Lucian's a champion that's always looked so freaking cool to me because of his combos and honestly just his aura. And there were plenty of times in these first few games where I definitely felt amazing. But there were also times where it felt like a complete disaster as I ran out of mana and couldn't actually do any of his fast combos. Already, Lucian was turning into one of the hardest champions I have ever played. I couldn't even dodge Alistar's knockup with my dash. Luckily, on a champion this difficult, the outplays feel incredible. Ulting while my attack speed was slowed, bursting Alistar and Nasus instantly, and cleaning up the final kill. I felt like double lift out there. Until I inevitably got a little bit too confident in my mechanical abilities and threw the game. Which wasn't totally my fault, okay? Again, Lucian is incredibly difficult to play, not just mechanically, but also because of his short range, which got me into trouble sometimes. Okay, maybe more than just sometimes. I don't even know what I was thinking in this clip. On the bright side, eCore, some of the deaths were just out of your control. So why exactly am I struggling so much with Lucian? Well, as a matter of fact, it wasn't always a struggle. My early game was actually pretty good. I mean, despite my abysmal mechanics, Lucian's strong early game with press the attack and combos helped me a lot early. The biggest issue of my laning phase was going all in. Lucian wants short trades where he triggers press the attack and then gets out, but I was committing all of my resources every fight, which made me run out of mana or almost die. Like this fight, which did go pretty well, I guess, but I committed way too hard by casting all my abilities instead of weaving in and out. This weaving in and out mentality led to my next issue, which was, you know, kind of just only thinking about the in part. Again, going in is an important part of Lucian's kit because of his high mechanics and high burst. It's just also important to know your limits so you don't go too far or overheat in a fight. And to be fair, this is something that even the best players in the world mess up sometimes, like Double Lift in 2016 Worlds.
Double lift. Oh, and it gets deleted.
This issue can be traced back to one important mistake. I need to stop dashing in. Like, I literally dashed into a Diana ult and I only won because my jungler was here. My theory was your passive lowers your E's cooldown, so if I E first, I get more cooldown reduction. What I didn't realize yet was how important that first E was. But I have other issues like Lucian's short range. I mean, how do I even fight without Eing in? I used my E to disengage this fight, and it took ages before I was able to do damage again. And my last, but admittedly least important issue was my mana control. Sometimes I'd spam my abilities so much in lane that I couldn't crash waves or missed some kill opportunities. This is less of an issue because your first item is Essence Reaver, which gives you mana back, but I needed to be a little more conservative with my mana in the first few levels. Despite my plethora of mistakes, it surprised me that I actually started to play better, even with a Wukong support. And for the first time this whole challenge, I think I pulled off a pretty clean fight. I mean, just look at this ult. Are we the best? I was getting more comfortable with Lucian's mechanics, short trades, and general Lucian knowledge, like using this minion to finish off Misfortune with my Q. And even though I still had some questionable fights, I now had just enough mana to finish off a kill and make it out safely. Also, Nami 1000% saved me this fight, so thank you, Nami. I did still have an issue using my E too early or too aggressively, sometimes having to flash just to fix my positioning, which wasn't even enough this fight. But I'll take improvement where I can get it. Like in this fight, I did save my E to dodge Set's Mega Punch, which was nice, until eventually the stars aligned and I had my best normal game yet. And yes, that Morgana did flash in without mana to ult. I wasn't dashing in every time anymore. Even though I dashed in a straight line and still got hit by Morgana's Q, the idea was there. You know what? Let's just call getting hit by that a bait. I mean, watch me start this fight with my W for the movement speed, save my E to escape the Garen, and then finish off the kill with my team. Old E-Core would have dashed in right here, all leading to the final fight where every E was to reposition for safety. I hit almost my entire ult and genuinely thought I was really good at Lucian now. But as I would quickly learn, my challenger coach thought otherwise. So I did some research on YouTube and here's what I found. 1. Try to trade through melee minions with your Q, but don't always try to trade through ranged minions. If you walk up to Q through ranged minions, you're usually overextending and it'll probably take some damage. 2. Always look for Q angles. It is the most important thing to determine your positioning in lane, and it's how you poke. If you aren't landing Qs, you're losing a lot of damage. 3. Your dash has different lengths. The general rule is, for burst, use your short E for an auto attack reset, but for survival, use your max range E to reposition. 4. If you W, auto attack, and instantly E, you will still get the E cooldown reduction, but you have to E while your auto attacks are still traveling. 5. Using tip 4, your fast combo is W auto, E auto, Q auto, ult to finish off an enemy. However, the combo becomes W auto, E auto, ult if you're trying to burst a squishy target because your Q actually loses DPS. 6. Ideally, you want to start trades with your W because it guarantees extra movement speed. I was using it as a combo extender to lower my E's cooldown, but that was just wrong. 7. Defensive boots. Personally, I didn't like Ionian Boots of Lucidity because once you finish Navori Flicker Blades, your cooldowns are basically non-existent. So I found plated steel caps and Merc Treads to give me just enough survivability to play Lucian comfortably. And the final 8th tip will come later in the video. So now that I know how to actually use Lucian's abilities, I'll definitely win my ranked games, right? But you know what? I think this first ranked game was one of the worst ranked experiences I've ever had. Not because I got my butt kicked, but because I was paired with Senna. And the only thing worse than getting absolutely blasted is when you're getting absolutely blasted in front of your wife. I don't know, every play was just so rushed and flustered. Like here, I started with my W, which was right, but then I panicked, wasted my E, angled my ult completely wrong, and yeah, died for it. Maybe I was trying to absorb too many tips all at once, maybe I was just nervous about ranked, or maybe one good normal game didn't mean I was ready for ranked yet. Regardless, I was playing more aggressive and dashing in more than ever. In this one fight, I not only E'd forward, but then flashed forward, and then E'd forward again into melee range of Shen for no reason. As I watched my Nexus explode in my very first ranked game, I knew this was gonna be rough. My biggest issue right now was my laning phases weren't going the way I'd planned, and I wasn't sure how to recover with Lucian. Lucian is an early game AD carry, which made me feel pressured to try and win as fast as possible, and when I couldn't do that, I just forced plays on my own. Running off and split pushing while super behind and just taking fights I thought I could outplay, even though at no point this challenge did I show I had the mechanics to outplay anything. Lucian was one of the first champions I ever bought a skin for, despite never playing AD carry, just because I thought he looked cool. Now here I was, years later, finally playing him, and a challenge that I thought would be one of my best ever was turning into a disaster. I mean, here, my entire ult got blocked by 1.5 minions, and then I got killed by Xerath, who was on the complete other end of the map at this point. I just wasn't doing as much damage as other Lucians, I had no idea how to navigate his extremely short range, and I was always trying to do too much in the early game. Things did improve with my first Nami support in ranked. She matched my aggression, and this laning phase restored my confidence a little bit, but in the very first ranked game where I was actually playing well, the entire game just fell apart around me, and I knew it was time for some professional help. Enter Praedyth, a former rank 1 player, a challenger level coach, and a multi-season Lucian main.
The first piece of advice I have for you is a lot of the time you're leading your trades with E. If you lead with an auto attack instead, or a W auto attack, what that's going to do is it's going to proc your PTA. And the second, the longer the fight goes on, the more our ulti scales into the fight. So if you are able to ult them on the back end of the fight and run them down, they can't really attack you back. But if we're using it at the start, try to get our basic abilities off first. So my third piece of advice, you are really aggressively dashing forward, and I just need to remind you that you are playing an AD carry. And yeah, those are my 3 biggest pieces of advice, and good luck on your Lucian journey.
I immediately took these notes to heart. Starting with an auto attack gave me just enough burst to kill Sona here, and even though I did still dash in, it's only because Nami missed her Q, which I don't even know how it missed, by the way. In the very first fight with my ult, I waited until I activated press the attack and used my abilities before ulting, which allowed me to clean up more kills. And when it came to my dashes, I was making a conscious effort not to dash towards the enemy. Like here, I dashed diagonally, but still probably should save it for Alawi's flash engage. These improvements don't even include the smaller tips he gave me during the coaching session, like just relaxing a little bit because Lucian is incredibly hard. Of all the AD carries he teaches, Lucian is one of the main ones people mess up with. His short range, fast combos, heck, even just keeping track of his abilities, they're all things Lucian players struggle with at some point. Especially because Navori Flicker Blades makes your cooldowns so short. I have a hard time keeping track of my abilities against Baron. Could you imagine how hard it is in a team fight? Upon realizing all of this, it was like a weight lifted off my shoulders because I wasn't failing at Lucian like I thought. These were all just very common Lucian mistakes, which resulted in one of my best games on Lucian, where even in the final fight, I kept my cool, didn't immediately use my dash, and carried my team to victory. It was also during this time I uncovered why I was using my dash so aggressively, and it was because of Lucian's short range. Unlike most AD carries, Lucian has to be comfortable fighting in close quarters, and using his dash to outplay enemies like dodging Nunu ultimates or getting an auto attack reset. Up until now, I had been playing super far back like a traditional AD carry, just to realize, wait, my range is really short, now I gotta dash in to auto attack. The reason Lucian can play on a knife's edge is because his short cooldowns make him untouchable in a fight. If you're good. Even now, I stayed too far back sometimes, which meant I had to dash into Nunu's ult to do damage, instead of dashing away like I did in the previous clip. And again, Lucian's range is ridiculously short. I couldn't even auto-attack Alawi in Jarvan's ult here. I'd finally figured out what made Lucian truly powerful. I had to overcome my fear of playing at a close range and trust my mechanics to take over, instead of allowing myself to get overwhelmed and lash out, like before. Point is, I was genuinely starting to win games and feel good doing it, understanding Lucian's limits and knowing when I needed to ult to disengage or when I could go back in. Which all brings me to the final bonus tip of the video, the EW combo. Sometimes you don't need every auto attack reset, but instead just need to close the gap quickly. So casting E and W at the same time closes the gap and gives you extra movement speed. It's also good when you don't have a lot of time to react to a play. Oh shit. Or you see a narrow window to engage, like hitting level 6 and seeing the enemy bot lane walk up a little bit too far. The main thing to take away from this bonus tip is you don't have to min-max every auto attack, every ability, every animation cancel. It's more about understanding when to use your abilities. Like here, I was a little too far away to auto attack or Q, so I decided to ult early to capitalize on my Leona's stun. Or how I told you earlier in the video during tip 5 to skip your Q sometimes because it can lose you DPS. So with the start of the new season, my new eCore LOL account was placed in Gold 3, 71 LP. I thought I would love Lucian. Then I got completely overwhelmed by his difficult mechanics, all for it to come full circle and make me feel like a mechanical god. Lucian made me confront one of my biggest insecurities as a player, my mechanics, and I think I'm a much better player because of it, even if not every play is amazing. Would I recommend Lucian? Yes, but only if you're prepared to mess up a lot before you finally get